So over a month ago, RWBY Volume 9 aired, and, well, I'm going to tell you, it's as soulless as ever. I mean, it is a complete and total dumpster fire. As time goes on, the series just progresses to actually get worse, and, you know, the thing is, if you have any criticism about it, well, keep in mind, the insane fanatics, the freak show, well, those clowns are going to come after you the moment you say anything that they don't like to hear. Oh yeah, because that's clearly the sensible way to react, right? But anyway, so there was a scene that came out of the 7th episode of Volume 9, and that scene, it actually, if it's taken out of context, seems like RWBY is having a homophobic temper tantrum. And it garnered a lot of attention. There was a lot of people that started making memes out of it. A lot of people started rediscovering the series because of this, which I think is actually a pretty funny reason for it to actually gain attention again. But Moist Critical was one of the people who had noticed this, and he had decided to give his opinion on RWBY.
RWBY's a show I just don't get, man. It's on season 9, right? Apparently it's going to Crunchyroll, or maybe it's already on Crunchyroll, or has been. This show looks fucking awful. Like, the only reason I tuned into it again recently is because of all the homophobic RWBY memes and shit. Had me giggling a bit, so I wanted to check it out to see, like, okay, what is this show about? I don't get it. It actually feels like it is written by a 9-year-old. And the animation is so bad. It's so bad.
So all Charlie did here was obviously state his opinion, which there's nothing wrong with that. You know, that is his opinion, and that's perfectly fine. He didn't do anything wrong. But keep in mind, when it comes to the deranged RWBY fanatics, oh boy, the moment that you throw criticism at RWBY, well, that's the moment that they go on the attack, because that's exactly what happens here. Hey, Moist Critical, I really like your content, but this is extremely out of pocket. Monty had Volume 9 planned out from the start and had his closest friends write the whole story with him. And some of the things you said here directly shits on him and other people. I don't know, you sure about that?
No, I know Monty created it. I remember when it first came out. And it was cool. Like, Monty's work was always extraordinary. But whatever's become of the show is awful.
So Charlie saying that Monty's work was cool and extraordinary, apparently that's directly shitting on Monty and other people? Man, I can only imagine what praise is like with these people. Huh, what does it take to make that work? But no, like, what these people want to do is they want to twist anything that you say, because if you say one thing that they disagree with, oh, well, then they're going to make you out to be the villain. We must make sure that everybody sees this person that we're going to demonize as the bad guy, whenever they didn't even do anything wrong. More people in the thread continued by saying, that's how some of these people are. They can review other stuff just fine, but can't do the same to RWBY for some reason, despite how little sense that makes. Have you considered that RWBY just isn't great for very valid reasons? And what valid reasons did Moist Critical have? From what I've seen, he hasn't watched RWBY in years. Took a clip from a recent episode and watched it without context, then judged it from his own assumptions and from brief summaries from Twitch chat. How is that valid reasons? I don't know, maybe it's called an opinion. I mean, there are other opinions than just one opinion, you know, like, people are allowed to think however they want about RWBY, whether they like it or dislike it. They have a right to that opinion, whether you agree or disagree. But if there's one thing you'll ever notice about these lunatics, it's cult-like mentality. I mean, they see it as if it's their religion, that if you say anything bad about RWBY, well then, they only have one response to that.
This ain't an apology. Not liking RWBY is fine. You're allowed that. But calling RWBY's breakdown a little attitude and only looking at it because of homophobic memes, it's not a good look.
You know the irony in that. So a little bit of irony here is the fact that look at Rooster Teeth, look at the allegations against them, look at the things they also got caught on. The abuse of their animators, the crunch time, you know, Ryan and, you know, Adam scandal, their, you know, former vice president of engineering abusing his wife. You know, and then, of course, they also came out and were saying that transphobia sucks and, you know, intolerance is not accepted there. And yet, allegations came out that they were being homophobic, sexist, and transphobic, apparently, from a twit longer by one of their former employees. I mean, you know, the company has been falling apart for years. And all these allegations, whatnot, keep coming out and everything. And then these fans, they just turn a blind eye, like, oh, I didn't say nothing. But then, it's a homophobic meme, and then they're upset, They're hypocrites. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, and if you thought the parasites were done, oh no, they were still continuing to twist Charlie's words around. This person stated, not only did he shit on the show, he used Monty's name to disrespect his family? Most critical, this is completely fucked up and inappropriate. You have no idea what you were talking about, and you are shitting on a dead man's literal family for what? To seem cool? Man, this is one of the stupidest things I've ever read. When it comes to RWBY, if there's one thing you'll ever learn, it's this, in which I've learned this over the years that I have reviewed the series. Any form of criticism that you give, if it is not something that is praising the series, then it is a sin. They treat it as if you are the devil if you say anything bad about the series. And the worst part is, they use Monty, they use someone who's passed away years ago, as a shield to try to deflect criticism. That is one of the most disgusting things that I've ever seen. RWBY has every right to be able to be criticized, but also the show in comparison to what it used to be is terribly bad. It's literally a dumpster fire. I've said that before, I'll say it again. It is a dumpster fire, and it has every right to be able to be criticized. That's not disrespect to Monty, because you can literally criticize anything.
Unironically, actual X-Arm animation here, if you haven't seen it.
I know you may not care about protecting this village, but you could.
Oh, and this is also the homophobic RWBY memes. She has a little attitude about being the leader.
Are you okay?
No, what time is it? No! No!
Oh, Sean.
I couldn't save them. I was supposed to save them, and they're dead.
So what the fuck happened there? So apparently everyone there just died. But why? What the fuck happened, and what were they? Like, tiny little creatures? Like Smurfs or something in there? Like, what is it? What happened? Someone explain it to me. They wanted to kill themselves to reincarnate, but Jean didn't let them. What? So this is a town of people that wanted to commit suicide, so they blasted holes into the side of a dam to flood it to kill themselves? Is that real?
And if you thought this couldn't get any more unhinged, oh boy, well, get ready. At first, I was indifferent towards Moist Critical, but after seeing his ignorant and retarded reaction to an out-of-context video of RWBY and Jean's breakdown, I want his fucking retarded, ugly dipshit to take one of his guns out and to basically state that they wanted him to end his own life.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
When you look at something like this, this is so unhinged. This is ridiculous. Over an opinion. This is an opinion. And there are people that are this deranged and crazy, just mentally insane to the point that they want Moist Critical to end his own life. Look, Moist Critical didn't even do anything wrong. It's somebody's literally saying that they want him to take his own life. I mean, it's absurd. Absolutely ridiculous. These people are insane.
Damn, Moist Critical didn't take you as a hero hey enjoyer. Only thing you're missing is a 10-minute video of why RWBY is bad, saying it's bad because you shouldn't watch, period. And drag Monty's name in the dirt as well as tell RWBY that they suck, absolute jackass.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Thing is, you have every right to look at something, and you don't have to consume the whole form of media. You have every right to look at it, and it's subjective. It's up to you whether you like something or not. You have that right. You can still criticize it. If you look at something you don't like it, that's your opinion. You have that right. Nobody can force you to like something. And it's like they think that if you don't think the way they do, you're the bad guy. Just looking at that clip, Charlie has every right to say what he felt about it. And he did.
Didn't think I'd put Moist on the list with Hero Hey and TJC today, but here we are, laugh my ass off. Like, again, but have your opinion, that's fine, but Moist literally shits on RWBY saying animation is bad, it is written by children, and lastly, weaponizing Monty's name to prove a point. Also putting people on a list for thinking differently? I mean, what is this? World War II Germany? But there were some people that were cool that were, pointing this out and, calling out the issues, like Haru47 saying, RWBY Damage Control Squad just arrived, and Lone Knight saying, see RWBY fans getting upset at Moist Critical Charlie is great. They realize he is likely more popular or well-known than the show is, right? So what do? They show all his fans that have not watched the show that it does not matter if it's good or bad, because the fans are vile. Yeah, yeah, they are. There's a lot of really bad ones. You got some good ones, but there's a lot of really bad ones, though. But, when you look back at Monty was an excellent guy. When it came to his animation, I mean, his work was phenomenal. Even when I look back at, like, old RWBY, it still had its problems. It wasn't, like, my favorite show of all time, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. It was good for the first 3 volumes, and after that it went to shit. But, when it came to, like, Dead Fantasy, that was how I found Monty, way before RWBY was even a thing, and God, that was beautiful. It was badass. Like, you want to talk about something amazing to watch? Watch Dead Fantasy. He did such a good job with that animation, like, beautiful. And also, when it comes to Monty's plans, as people talk about that, look, I know there were outlines and ideas, but I don't think that everything was fully planned out, and I can tell you why. Some reasons I can give you that I don't think it was fully planned out is because, for one, the Maiden powers, that was a retcon. That was thrown in the middle of Volume 2, Volume 3, and the whole reason why Roman was stealing dust, yeah, that was thrown out the window when, the Maiden idea came in. So that whole thing was just retcon, thrown out. And then Neo herself was last minute in Volume 2. Monty stated during the August 21st Rooster Teeth live stream that Neo's design is partially based on a presentation cosplay of Torchwick made by one of his friends, which was female. It was a gender-bent Roman Torchwick, and so that's where he got the idea. Now, when it comes to planning, there was this article, RWBY, after Monty Oum, was the scariest thing ever, says Rooster Teeth. Now, they always say nowadays, you'll see the voice actors, RWBY trying to say, oh, everything was planned out by Monty. Look at this. Producer Gray Haddock, if you know Gray, and a lot of controversy behind that guy, said Rooster Teeth had to remain absolutely dedicated to keep the show going. This included pulling together memories and documentation and all available reference material to make sure the vision of the show would be maintained as closely as possible with what Monty had in mind. Now, this is kind of an interesting statement because, the VAs and the writers try to say it was all planned out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think it was. No, I don't think it was. But hey, this is just some food for thought.
They didn't like me saying less than favorable things about the show. Which is to be expected, it's not surprising. No, it's really... One of them really got under my skin, though, saying that I was insulting Monty and shitting on him and... what was it? What was the exact claim? Using his death to shit on him to sound cool. Which was one of the most delusional things I've heard in a long time, when in fact I had nothing but praise for Monty and his work. But they couldn't be bothered to see past one clip where I was insulting a really goofy moment of the show. So it's not like I can even really be mad at them. And you won't see them talk about this part of it either. It'll just be that one clip still with none of them even hearing anything of what I was saying about the show aside from just that one clip, but then still saying I was shitting all over Monty for some reason. It's just that Twitter behavior of wanting to feel like the thing you like is attacked and the person is evil behind the attack. Just that pure victim complex. The things I like everyone hates, and they're all evil for it. I followed Monty's work from a very early age. Monty was one of the most impactful animators of, like, the internet age. I've always had an appreciation for his work. Not liking RWBY isn't an insult to Monty or his memory or anything, but... Can't tell that to them, I guess, because they want to find every possible angle of calling the person who doesn't like the thing they like evil. So they go as far as to just make shit up in their own head about it. But yeah, I'll say it again. I don't like RWBY. I've never seen anything from RWBY that I liked, aside from like the premiere and the very early work when Monty was involved with it before his passing. Those I look back on fondly, but past that, everything I've seen from RWBY I don't like. And there's nothing wrong with me saying that. Not everyone has to like the same things you like.
So now what you listened to there was Charlie's response, and he makes some very solid points, because look, just because you like something doesn't mean that somebody else is going to like something. And that's okay. Just the same thing as you're not going to like some things that some people are going to like, and then you're going to find common ground with some people, and that's perfectly fine too. You know, just because you may not like something, you know, that doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't. You know, and nothing is above criticism, RWBY included. RWBY has a right to be criticized as much as anything else does. And look, you know, it's okay to disagree with somebody, but when it gets to the point to where people are, rather than respectfully agreeing to disagree, when they're going as far as to attacking someone, threatening them, and twisting their words to attack them and demonize them, yeah, that's when it's not okay. That's when it's just unsensible. Now, this one person had responded again saying, somebody responded and does make some good points here. Charlie's right. There's nothing wrong with him saying that he doesn't like RWBY, and nothing he's seen since the Maya era is totally fine. That's okay. The issue some people were taking with that, with what he said, was because he said directly, what's become of the show? When Monty had some direct aspects of it planned from the beginning and trusted his closest friends with that plan. That's been put on record multiple times. Comparing to X-Arm 2 is just honestly really unnecessary. And again, the context of the scene from Volume 9, Episode 7 is that he was making fun of us, totally not there, so I can't blame him for feeling confused, but I definitely didn't try to make him sound like he's evil. Yeah, bullshit to that, because they literally said that what he said directly shits on Monty and other people when they attacked Charlie in their original post. Up until this, I really like Charlie and his content, but this has definitely hurt.
Look at little Goblin Jr. Gonna cry?
God. Twitter is a cesspit from hell if I've ever seen one. Especially RWBY Twitter. My God. You have any little smudge of criticism, then they're going to take you and crucify you on the cross. Because that's exactly how they act in response to any form of criticism. It is absurd. Let's go ahead and end that right there, because I've seen enough insanity for one day, and also before this evolves into another 30-minute long video. When it comes to giving your own opinion on RWBY, that's perfectly fine. You know, you like it, that's fine. You don't like it, that's fine too. You're entitled to your own opinion. But nobody should be attacked if they don't like it or if they criticize it. They have every right to do it. Charlie was in the right giving his own opinion on it. He didn't do anything wrong. And I think the people that try to use Monty as a shield to try to deflect criticism, I think they're idiots. And I think that that in itself is disrespectful to try to use Monty's name in that way. But at the same time, you know, the series itself, it is falling apart. I mean, was it ever perfect? No, of course not. Even when Monty was alive, yeah, you could still criticize the series. There were still issues even during volumes 1 through 3. Now, was it actually more fun and interesting at that time? Yeah, but, you know, even if you look at, like, Monty's work back then, it was amazing. I mean, like, you know, you could take clips. You don't even have to watch the show. You could take clips from the first 3 volumes and see the fights that he did and whatnot. They are beautiful. Still, today, I like the Yang versus Neo fight. I think it's the peak fight in all of RWBY, in my opinion. And Monty did an excellent job on it. But point being, RWBY can be criticized just as much as anything else, and there's nothing wrong with that. And look, not every RWBY fan's a bad person. Not every RWBY fan acts like this. But the terrible ones that do these things, yes, they make everybody look bad. And that's the big problem. And thing is, when it comes to RWBY fandom, you see this happen a lot whenever criticism is involved. You will see these people will jump out of the woodwork. They'll attack anybody if you give even the slightest little dab of criticism. You know, it's okay to agree to disagree with somebody. That's fine. You have every right to disagree with someone, but to attack them, to threaten them, to twist the words around, no, there's no sense in it. There's no reason. I mean, my God, it's like these people just like to be irrational, and it's like they would prefer to dogpile people rather than to just agree to disagree and leave it at that. But it's ridiculous. But anyways, hope you all take care and have a wonderful day out there.